All right, let's jump on into it. So I am obliged just to provide this forward-looking statement. Just for clarity, I am not an attorney. This is not from me. This is just what I'm obliged to include. Also, if you guys haven't already, fill out surveys on all the different sessions. It definitely helps us from a speaker's perspective, helps us understand the content, how it resonated, and comments are always, always, always helpful. So with that, there's the name of the talk. I want to thank you all for being here. Uh, Very, very, very awesome. My name is Nakanelua. I'm with a company named Blueprint. If you happen to be around, we have a booth right over there, and we got a lounge on the other side of the expo as well that you can check out. Little bit about me. So, something I like to do. There are 3 parts on this slide. 2 of them are true about me. One of them is a lie. And so one is I spent a lot of time abroad, learned to speak a few different languages, which is really awesome. Number 2, I am a Databricks MVP. And number 3, I play bass in a Seattle rock band. So by show of hands, who believes that I fluently speak 3 languages? Okay, ciao. All right, all right. By show of hands, how many people believe that I'm a Databricks MVP? All right. And then finally, how many people believe that I play bass in a Seattle rock band? All right. That actually makes me really, really happy. That is very true, by the way. I do, in fact, play bass in a rock band in Seattle. We have released music on vinyl, 3 different albums. The lie that is on this screen, I don't actually speak 3 languages fluently. In fact, you may gather here shortly, I barely speak English very well. So that is, the bottom 2 are very true. Now, let's jump into it. So the challenge, churn. For those that don't know, churn is basically if you have a customer, a user of a product or a service, and they sign up, they pay, then they leave. They have churned. And it turns out it is far more expensive to acquire a new customer than it is to focus on retaining your existing ones. This statistic hurts me a little bit because in my day job, I spend a lot of time building new products and getting new people to use things. So it's very fun for me. But as you can see, a very, very big problem. So what do we do about it? What can we do about it? So Gen AI, as we've been talking about, it's everywhere. It was in the keynote. Like, you can't be at one of these conferences without Gen AI coming up. Over on my right, this side, stage right, traditional churn prediction that happens today. Churn and churn propensity is not new. It's not a new problem, and it has been around for quite some time. There are lots of ways that organizations attempt to solve this. Some of them are very rules-based, very kind of straightforward and static. Some are employing machine learning. Have a customer right now that's what they're doing, kind of early stage model that they've put together. But with large language models specifically, what we find is now we can take that churn prediction and really amp up what people can do with it. Because how many of you all right now, by show of hands, get some sort of churn number back to you? Now, of those of you that have your hands up, how do you, like, by show of hands, how many of you get that churn score via spreadsheet? And it's usually between a 0 and a 1, right? 0.795. So what we hear a lot is the numbers, while relevant and accurate, depending on the model, it's really, really hard for departments that rely on that information, who are not data scientists, who are not technical, to get a spreadsheet of 1,000 customers, all with a decimal point number in a column. What do I do? And so I met with a customer a couple weeks ago, and she goes, all I do is sort, big number on the top, and that's my hit list. I just start calling people. I'm like, all right, that's one way of doing it. So this is an example, a screenshot of a GenAI application that is called Campaign IQ. This is actually on display at the Databricks kiosk for CMEG. Reason I wanted you all to see this before I got into the churn side is because you get to see the evolution of going from very traditional human-based evaluations to Gen AI influenced recommendations. So all the way to your left, my right, this is a advertising allocation by channel. So on your left, that red circle there, a human made that channel allocation. They just so happen to like that channel, and that's what they did. But when we run it through a variety of different agents and models and all the goodness, you can see that actually the system is recommending a multi-channel allocation, along with an explanation as to why it did that. This one in particular, we feed it with a lot of campaign information. And so wanted you all to see this, to kind of see that evolution of how we go from human to, we'll call it Gen AI accelerated. So let's get into it. Churn IQ is what we affectionately refer to this solution accelerator. For those of you that love data flow diagrams, I'll start here. So you can see on your left all the data sources that we're using. And this is modeled for games that are, or sorry, I should have backed up. This is set up for a fictional gaming company. I did it this way so that way I could talk to you all very freely without unintentionally putting confidential information out into the universe. So the use case here is a gaming company, mobile app, or mobile game rather, and they're capturing all that telemetry data. That is not new, that happens. They're also using Google for capturing all that information. So on your left is all the data sources that we're pulling in. We're going through the normal lakehouse architecture, as you can see there at the top. And then we're using that to feed into our churn model that we custom built for this solution. But then we also run it through a segmentation agent whose entire purpose in life is to do nothing more than segment all the future users based upon their churn propensity. And it does this based upon everything from how people are using the game to if they're making purchases in the game to how long they spend. So you can kind of see there's a lot going on. And then we have another agent which generates the strategy, which you'll see here in a moment. But more importantly, in our experience, it's the consumption, the experience on the other side of this. So you can see on the right-hand side, we're using a mix of AI BI. We also have a Databricks app, which I will show you here in a moment. And then we've also got Slack integration for Genie. Some of you may know that they recently released the Genie API, which now enables people to directly interact with the Genie workspace. It's really cool, actually. It still does require a Genie space to be set up, but then we plugged in Slack integration. So now you can interact with that Genie space directly through Slack, which is a modality that we have found a lot of customers prefer. So what in the world does this thing look like? Uh-oh, it didn't switch. Okay. I'm gonna do this. They're gonna hate me for this, but. Ta-da. Got there. So, this is Churn IQ. So, as I mentioned before, from a consumption perspective, here is our AI BI dashboard. Kind of cool, but to be honest with you, this is a historical look back, right? This is what has already happened, right? These customers have left. And you can kind of see how that gets broken down. This in and of itself is not new. Admittedly, it was very easy to put together on Databricks just based upon following the right flow for the data state and whatnot. But again, this in and of itself, okay, kind of cool, but not exactly what we're here to talk about. So let's talk about people that are potentially going to churn. So as you can see, this thing is loading up right now, and this is live. So what you're looking, this is meant to be flow from top down. So what are we looking at? At the top there, you can see how we have a little over 5,000 players for this game. In the last 24 hours, we've had 100 new players. What does that journey look like for those new players? Again, so you can kind of follow, because of all that telemetry data that we're capturing, we're able to map out the journey that new players have with the game. And then churn insights. What you're looking at here is the forecast agent coming into play. Of the 100 users that have come in the last 24 hours, 60% of them are predicted to churn and leave the game. And you can see that we have a relatively low engagement score. So out of 100, it's a 42, which is pretty low. So there are some interesting things here going on. And so then, well, this is more graphs and stuff because we all love graphs. So now we start segmenting these new users. So of those 100 users, how do we segment them out? We segment them by risk and engagement level. This is based upon directly their interaction with the game. And we're taking that information, we're marrying it up with our churn model, which turns around and lets us know how we can segment out. So now, okay, cool, I've got high risk, low engagement, high engagement, and a breakdown of all those users. So now the question becomes, what do I do about it? Like, this is all well and good. Like, thank you for letting me know that, hey, 60% of these new folks are going to be leaving, but now what? So then we get into now the retention strategy. So you can see I'm just going to select the high risk just because it's already there. And what you'll see is that it generates strategies for both the low engagement and the high engagement. So you can see this breakdown. Now, here's the thing about this. This is very wordy, I know. That was intentional on our part. This is not just a generic prompt to a foundation model. We funnel all the information that we have about that segment from their activity and all the measurements that we do. All of that gets fed into the model itself. So it is actually informed by the usage data and the churn modeling that we're doing. So we do this all the way around. So you can see in this case, both high and low. But then we wanted to take it a little bit further. So this is cool from a segment perspective, but if I'm a marketer and you're telling me that we have 100 new users, 60 of them are forecasted to leave and drop the game, you've given me this breakdown of recommendations that I should do, like personalized re-engagement emails. Okay, great. As a marketing professional, thank you for that. But I need more from you, because we all know that sales and marketing people, no offense to sales and marketing people that may be in the audience, but sales and marketing people want things, and they want them a lot, and that's totally fine. Two people got up. They must be in sales and marketing. No, I'm just playing. So what can I do about this, right? I'm the marketing professional. I need more. Show me. So we actually make it where also we generate a very specific and individualized plan for every single user that is forecasted to churn, with the intention of having it loaded up into, whether it's HubSpot or whatever the case may be, into your program, so that way now you can target very specifically each and every one of these new users with a very individualized, personalized campaign. And that is Churn IQ. And with 4 minutes to spare,